What's going on, Geekdom? Hopefully, everyone has been enjoying their holidays so far. Um, I wanted to do a top 10 for horror films of 2022. I don't think there's been a lot that I've watched that were uh, awesome. There has been some really good ones that I did get to see out of horror films. So these are just horror films that I have watched. I know that there's some that is rated pretty highly that I haven't watched. Majority of them is due to what streaming services and stuff that they're on. So I haven't gotten to watch those because of that. Or they're in theaters that I'm not close to when they did come out. Now, some horror films, I would say, were like the biggest problems with 2022 were a lot of the ones that weren't original films and stuff that were basically based off of other movies or continuations, like Scream, Texas Chainsaw, or Halloween. It's hard to copy and like really do well. I think Scream 5 was the better one. Yes, it's definitely hard to say with those type of films of continuations or Jeepers Creepers where you're trying to do a whole remake of things and it just doesn't work out too well. Um, yeah, those are just sad films to me as far as this continuation because you can't. It's hard to copy the style of the movie and stuff that everyone's used to and everyone likes it, and just try to create your own out of it with original story and everything else. Try to make it different and new and relatable, but still give you that same feel as the old ones have. So that's very tough to do, and to me, it wasn't as successful with a lot of these. Number 10, and this will be surprising to probably a lot of people. Scream 5 was very close to being my number 10, but I would have to give it to I Came By. This on Netflix. Not a lot of people liked I Came By as far as ratings and stuff I have seen, but the reason I gave it number 10 as far as the horror films, as far as just in the thriller horror genre, it was different than a lot of other ones. It was going through a path that I wasn't expecting it to go through. It has some other stuff that wasn't all that great with it, but it had some moments of things where it just surprised me as far as just where they were going with it, and then I was like, it was very logical that the antagonists would go when the story continued on and how he used his influence. But I know a lot of people didn't like probably the setup with the story and how stuff was, and I think some people even say that it's woke, but I don't really feel like it's a woke story. But I thought it was just something that was just different and something that I wouldn't ever expect it to have happen in the story just because of how they usually lay those type of stories out. Yeah, there's some stuff that I was like this. I don't think that should have happened and stuff like that. But as far as just story wise, I thought it was stronger out of all the rest of them that I have watched. Number 9 was Pearl. I really did like Pearl as far as shots, looks, everything. I thought the story was decent. As far as the horror, I don't think it really got me with the horror as much. So that's why it's number 9 for me. But I really did like the story, and I think old girl did a great job playing Pearl. Like because she in X she played both characters, and she did an excellent job in Pearl. Her acting was spectacular. I really did enjoy it. So Pearl was going to be in my top 10 just because I was like, this one was the prequel for X, but it was actually pretty decent. But I think it could have went a little bit harder when it came to horror and stuff like that. Everything that was jumping off, but it picked up at the end. I like a lot of things when it came to like the shots and the Wizard of Oz type of feel that you got with it, with her imagination and everything else. I just think she could have went a little bit more psycho to get that feel of that there's something wrong with her, a little bit more closer in the beginning of the film, but it was still all in good fun. I think they did still an excellent job with this film. Can't wait to see the next one. My number 8 was Smile. Smile was I thought was shot very well. It's still one of those like uh, big Hollywood type of horror films. But I still think that they did an excellent job with it. Smile was very creepy, still was very scary. Um, I really did like, especially when it came to the ending of the film. I think it amped up a lot when it came to the scares. And I think they did an excellent job with the characters. But yeah, I would say it's like story is not as strong as a lot of the other ones on the list. That's the only reason why I have it as number 8. It's just it wasn't as strong of a story, but it still was pretty good as far as shots and looks and scares. I think they still did an excellent job with it. But it was still a decent enough story that I think everyone should just check out because it's still an excellent horror film. It was made. I just don't think it was as strong as the others. Now, when it comes to number 7, that's when it gets really into like the better and the like really, really, really good horror films, in my opinion. Um, Number 7 is Nope. Nope is pretty awesome. I actually liked it a lot when it came to the visuals and everything. When it comes to like a monster film, because it's more of like the monster horror. I really did enjoy it. There was a lot of things that were kind of lacking with this one, as far as just when it came to story. Um, but I still thought it was still excellently done. The shots were nice. I think the monster was more interesting than anything when it came to the stuff that was happening. Jordan Peele did an excellent job with it. I don't think it was as strong as a story as uh, Us or as Get Out, but I think it was a good enough story. And I thought it was still it's like the stuff that they had worked pretty well. I think they could have went a little bit more when it came to the uh, the story and the. I wish they didn't cut out a lot of scenes. I think they should have kept some stuff that they cut out, but it still was pretty good, pretty strong of a film. I really did enjoy it. Number 6, we have Prey. Prey was controversial for me of being classified as horror. I know it's like predators and aliens and stuff like that, but to me, it's more of an action thriller than it is an actual horror film. Just because it's something from outer space that comes and tries to take on anything, any creature this on Earth. So I was like, I don't feel like it's really in this fact is just horror. I just feel like it's just an action thriller, but it is classified in the horror category, so I went ahead and put it into my top 10. So yeah, it's still excellently nicely done as far as Prey. I thought the shots and everything were nice. The story was pretty good. I just some things about it in the character that I wish they would have changed. Some things I think she was so negligent with her people, and the fact that she was very selfish a little bit to me. Even though she was there, supposed to be there for her brother and everything. There's a lot of moments where I think she was very, very selfish in her ideas and thinking of trying to deal with the predator that she was dealing with. But I still think that it was still excellently done, just how they had it look. I feel like it was still very, very strong. I think it did better than a lot of the other Predator movies. Way better than a lot of them, besides the first one. The first one I think is harder to top, but I think they are up there with them. I really do. I really do think Prey is up there with the first Predator movie. My number 5 is Hatching. Hatching was a surprise to me watching it, but it was excellently done as far as looks and everything. I think the practical effects were pretty nice. The makeup was nice. I think they used some puppeteering. I'm not for sure, but it looked like they used puppeteering and stuff as well. So I think that they did an excellent job with it as far as the creature and everything that was happening, the story, and you can easily see this being relatable to things that's happening here nowadays because you have a mom that wants to be such a big social media influencer and how she tries to make herself look and stuff when it comes to social media versus how everything looks when it comes to real life. So it's a very big drastic difference between her online life and her in real life things that's happening. And yeah, I thought this wasn't like the scariest things, but the one shot where the creature comes to the house to the girl and how she looked. I thought they did an excellent job with that makeup. It was so spot on, so good. Excellent movie. I'll definitely recommend if you haven't watched Hatching. That's like one of my major recommendations. Hatching is pretty awesome. Um, as a horror film, wasn't the biggest of scares, but nice story. It just I wish it didn't just end abruptly. That's my only thing with that one. It just ended so abruptly. I wish there was a better conclusion to it. My number four is Black Phone. Excellently done. Story was really good. I thought the Snatcher was excellently played. Very terrifying to see and frightening as much as just that goes. It's very uneasy to see exactly the Snatcher and his mask and everything else. I thought they did a nice job with that. The story was so good. The shots. I thought it was one of the better films as far as horror goes. But it did make it to my number four, just because I don't think it was as strong as horror for me. But as far as story, I thought it was one of the better stories out of all the horror films this year, especially the ones that made it out in theaters. Number three, I have Terrifier 2. The reason Terrifier 2 made it to number three for me just because I love Terrifier the first one, and part two didn't disappoint. Part two was chaotic, and I thought they had a lot going on with it. But I thought it's just far as the gruesomeness, the gore, the practical effects. I was like, this is like a slasher movie that I miss when it comes to slasher movies. Like a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense. Yes, I can understand that as far as the story goes. It's not going to be a lot of people's favorites, but I enjoyed it, but just because it was just so much fun when it comes to horror, especially in the genre the Terrifier fits with. I thought is so excellent, and I think Art the Clown is just so much fun, so much crazy. To me, he would hit up to those classic horror villains like Chucky or like Michael Myers, like Jason, Freddy. Like he is such a fun antagonist to the story, but he makes the story. I really do like he just like those characters like Jason, Michael Myers. He makes the movie, and Art does. It's such a joy to me to just watch in a film and just to watch. I think Terrifier 2 just did a great job with it. And with his character and just making him more enjoyable. He was way scarier in the first one, but as far as entertainment, he was way more entertaining in part two. Number two is X. X was a surprise to me as well. It got the kind of like you say like a Boogie Nights. Like what did I call it before? I called it Boogie Nights and Texas Chainsaw mix. But you have like adult film stars and filmmakers and stuff. They go to this house out in the country and try to make an adult film, and things go awry. I think the main thing I liked with it is the practical effects when it came to like the gore and everything. I think a lot of companies used a lot of visual effects to place the gore and everything, and that is fine, but I like practical effects because it makes it seem more gruesome, more real, much more impactful to me. And that's one thing I really do miss a lot when it came to different horror films is those practical effects, and they did an excellent job with these practical effects. And man, I think X was just so excellently just put together. Um, Story wise, a lot of stuff makes sense after you watch Pearl. So I recommend watching Pearl once you watch X, or you watch Pearl first and then you watch X. But a lot of stuff makes sense. A lot more sense to some things when you watch Pearl. Such an excellently written story, and the actors did such a great job. A lot of the actors that's in it, I didn't even know who they were because of their makeup and everything, their look. And these are some stars that you would see in other films. Mia Goth, she played Pearl, and she played Maxine, and she did a great job playing both characters. This is my top as far as recommended. I recommend a lot of people to watch it. Yes, it's very adult, it's very sexual, but it is very, very fun movie if you are an adult to just watch. It feels like those classic horror films that I used to watch. And my number one is Barbarian. Barbarian wasn't very much a surprise to me. And the only reason I put it as number one is just because of the story and how they were going about with it. The film was directed by Zach, I think it's Gregor. I thought, did an excellent job with it. And when it came to the writing of it, I thought he did an excellent job with setting it to where you do not know exactly what's going on. And it's hard for you to tell exactly what is happening in the film. Like everything that's coming up next, you don't know what's going to happen next. And it gets you from like one style of film to the next style of film really, really quickly. Because you think it's just like one thing and then it leads you into another. And when you finally figure out what exactly is going on, you're in for a ride. I really did enjoy it for that. It's not. I don't think Barbarian is everyone's top favorite film. I can definitely understand that, but for me, when it came to surprises with story, and I'm very much more story based, but if something's just entertaining to be entertaining, I like that. But when it comes to story, if you've written a story that really surprises me, you got me. You really do got me. And Barbarian really got me, and that's why they're number one. Just because I could not tell exactly what was happening in that story, and there were some shocking moments, horror moments, and some craziness that was happening. Yeah, it's one I recommend people to just go and watch, go and check out. Not gonna be everyone's number one, but it is very much up there. I recommend all these films, to tell you the truth, just to check out. If you're into horror, check out all these films just to watch. You may feel different than I do when it comes to horror films, and that is perfectly fine. But these are just my top favorites for just different reasons. But I feel like horror was okay this year. I don't think it was the best ever as far as the year goes, but because it was hard to make a top 10, if it was a little bit easier to say that I had way more, I would have felt a little bit different about the year for 2020 when it came to horror. But there's so many other horror films I haven't watched yet, and some I can't watch just because they're on certain platforms, but others were just a lot of disappointments. If you would like to see me do a top 10 worst horror films that I didn't like, let me know. But let me know exactly what y'all think about this in the comments below. If you like this video, please put a like on the video. If you'd like to subscribe to see some more of my videos, please do. Thank you all so much for jumping on and giving me a try. I really do appreciate it. Please do take care of yourselves and each other. Peace, geekdom.